Good afternoon, YouTube. This is man on Waitress Pitch, aka the Emperor of Female Combat Sports Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Well, folks, I hadn't done a video on female combat sports in a while. You know, my main thing is women's bodybuilding, but as I said again, I'm a fan of women's combat sports, MMA, wrestling, boxing, and every now and then I like to do a video. I don't give it too much because I like to go into a little bit more a better, more interested men than I am, and that's my man, Coach Sheldon Harrison, aka El Coche, the Coach Adamas, aka that man who really made me who I am now. Thank you, Coach. Also, my brother's Comic Book 99, BJ over at No Filter. Also, my brother, XA Gucci 23, and also my sister, the lovely Miss Tay Tay Brown, the queen of MMA talk, and also can I get Ashley Corner. I mean, I hadn't been on there, was on there the other day, and just check it out. It's been a while. So anyway. This fight came on. It was on last night, and this was it was a 3 title fights with Bellator 300 in San Diego. As you know, Bellator is the second most popular MMA organization in the world. Right now, there's talks that it might be undersell. So I know my man, the coach, been talking about it, but like I said, but anyway. So anyway, we don't talk about this because of these couple ladies on this fight that I'm a fan of. One notably. Chris Cyborg, aka Cyborg Nation Stand Up. This was going to be her, I think, a fifth or fourth fight as she's contracted under the Bellator ever since she left the UFC. No, actually, she got kicked out of the UFC. You might as well say that. Against Alpha Cat Zingano, who also is another person who got kicked out of the UFC. And also we have Liz Camucci, she also got kicked out of the UFC a while back, and she's fighting her best friend, Aaliyah Leigh McFarland. As you know, Liz Camucci is the current flyweight champion, and also Cyborg's the current featherweight champion. And, I'm a big fan of Cyborg. I've done content on her on my channel a while back. I did a video about her. She commented on it. It could have been her. It could be her boyfriend, Ray, who sometimes works her social media. But you know what? It's good enough she took a time out of a small YouTube myself and make a comment. I mean, I like that. So anyway, this fight's been talked about for almost a year or more. I mean, as you know, Kat's now the number one contender. Ever since she went to Bellator after she got kicked out of the UFC, he put in some good amount of wins. And Cyborg's been dominating her last 4 or 5 fights ever since she was kicked out of the UFC too. And as you know, Lee May and Liz are good friends, even trained together. And this is for the title because Lee May she defeated Julia Velasquez about a couple of years ago for the title, and her last fight was against Dayana Vitamin D Bennett. And Lee May, she had a fight a while back, and she won a fight and she lost a fight ever since she lost to Velasquez almost, it seemed like 3 years ago, seemed about. And, there was also another fight of a card that a lady who I'm also a fan of, that is the lovely Sarah, I like to call Sarah Muscle McMahon, up against Leah McCourt. And, this fight, I didn't hear much about it, but, Leah McCourt is another contender for the featherweight title. And, and it hadn't been that long ago since, Sarah McMahon jumped onto the UFC. She beat the former title contender, multiple time title contender, Arlene Angerfinis Blanco. And that's been a while ago. And she submitted her. And, and Blanco's is a tough opponent, but she just not that good in the ground. And, anything about Sarah Man, she's a great wrestler, good ground game, very strong. And Leah, she was doing pretty good till she got stopped by Kat Zingano, her last fight. And, Kat, as I said, it's a tough opponent. And this was a test for Leah. But now, she took on another former UFC fighter, and she took her out. I mean, it kind of broke my heart. I didn't get to see the fight, but I saw the highlights on the YouTube because they always post it. And it was quick. It was like around about the first round. And it was just dominant striking by Leah McCourt, using elbows and fists as a ground and pound. They should have stopped it, but the ref, I don't know, he felt like Sarah wasn't doing enough, so he stopped it. And from what I heard, the fight actually Sarah was doing a little better, but then it just that happened. She was on the ground and she was trying to use her wrestling against Leah McCourt, but Leah McCourt's a tall girl. She's like about 5'10", maybe 5'8". So she really used her reach advantage against Sarah. So now Leah is on the way probably into the chance for a title contendership for the featherweight championship. And next up we have here is this fight was supposed to be a title fight. And it was one of 3 title fights on the Bellator 300. And it was like it's like more like an undercard fight. As you know, as I said again, Liz Camucci and Lee McFarland have been friends for a long time, even trained together. And some people kind of like, hey, come on, these two, from what I hear with one people, she wasn't as as aggressive with Lee May, because like I said, they're friends. And sometimes it can be a thing when you're friends with another fighter. Sometimes friendships may not be good between fighters, but especially in the same weight class. But Lee Malay came in 3 pounds over the title weight limit, because you can't go over, or you can go under. You can go under. You can come in 124, but you can't even come in 126, because in a title fight you have to be on exact weight. And the thing is, people, I talk about this a lot. One thing is, this, especially if I do interviews and talk with ladies in the fitness bodybuilding world. When you starve your body to a certain level, it will store fat, and they would feel like it's in a stress of threatening, or feel like the body's being threatened because of what you're doing by starving yourself. It will, deposit that fat. And that's probably what happened. She was a certain weight, and then she popped out, got higher, because your body sometimes reacts to how you're doing it, and how you're treating it. But anyway, the fight went on, and this was going to be a fight for the titles, not for the title, even though it was a 5-round fight. And even if Liz wins the fight, she's still champion. But if she loses, she has to vacate the title. It's happened before. I remember it was with I think it was Jinyu Fry, when she came in overweight in her last atomweight fight, and she lost the fight, but she was stripped of the title. So and that's what happens. It happens before. I think Charles Oliveira had a fight where he was a champion, but he came in overweight, he stripped of his title. So, but anyway, the fight, with the distance, it was long. I think some people say it wasn't exciting, but because I think it was maybe playing a little pity pat. I mean, a lot of these guys who are hardcore fans of, and maybe women MMA fighters, they didn't like the fight too much. But then around about the last half of the fight, Liz throws a big leg kick at Leo May's, right there, a little bit between her thigh and a little bit above her knee, and Leo May went down. It was over. It was that, like I said, it was it. All it takes is a good leg kick. It was just barely within 10, 15 minutes of that 5th round, And, them being good friends, she felt sorry for a friend. She checked her out. And, Leo May, she talked about retirement, because she hadn't been champion for at least 2 or 3 years after she lost to Velasquez, had a couple of fights here and there, and, took some wins and some losses. But, she's doing some charity work for Hawaii, because she's originally from Hawaii, because, the fires were there, and she's doing some charity work for that. And now I think this may be a good time for her to step away, because she's been, Lee Malay from Fallen was the first flyweight champion, was dying for a good while till she lost to Velasquez. But, I think now the division has changed. You get more women from the UFC coming in, stronger, better fighters. Even those women who are even declining are still better than women in Bellator right now. So I think it's a good move for Lee Malay to probably move on and, focus on life, and maybe, just still being in the sport in a way, but not as an active fighter. Maybe work behind the scenes, coach, trainer, even do commentary. I think it's a better move for her. So let's wish the best of luck for Lee Malay McFarlane. Next up we have here is, I would say, the main event, the fight that people have been talking about. We've been talking about CA Combat Sports. BJ been talking about. Conor McGregor been talking about it. We all been talking about this fight. This is a fight we've been looking forward to. The big factor was that, truthfully, it was Kat Zingano who was dragging. Like I said, for that time, Chris Cyborg had 2 boxing matches since this fight was finally made. And, we decided when fighter would get hurt, it's going to be made. It was this, and it was great because it's who are fans of Cyborg. I mean, Cyborg's a great lady. Like I said, again, she took the time out of a small YouTuber like myself who doesn't do too much content on women's MMA, but do, just talk about her. I mean, I would love to meet her someday. I genuinely like Cyborg. Some things she may not speak up much on, but still, she's really good for the sport. People might have issue about what she did in the past, but that's the past. Sometimes you may hold other people, but some will hold more than others. But these 2 women really were about to get down. Kat Zingano said she wanted to fight Cyborg for a long time, especially back in the early days of UFC, especially back then when they're both kind of in strike force. I think Kat was still fighting 135, and Cyborg came in and got the title and beat Gianna Carano. But this is just, Cyborg, she's passionate. But I felt like she's going to win, but I had to sometimes have my concern. Because remember what happened to, Cyborg, she fought Amanda Nunes. What happened to Amanda Nunes, we fought Juliana P. And what happened to Valentina Shevchenko when she fought Alexa Grasso. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes somebody can pull out a lucky win. But anyway, Kat, like I said, Kat and Cyborg face off, but really Cyborg was just dominant, more strikes. I think Kat, as is a good wrestler, but she tried to use takedowns multiple times, but it wasn't just enough. She had one point, she had a good strike, with a good leg kick in the midsection of Chris, but Chris kind of just shook it off, and then bam, that's it. Cat is face down, and the man saying the song face down, ass up. I mean, she was getting wailed on by Cyborg. And then it was over. The referee stopped it. There was nothing much to do. Cyborg wasn't, Cat wasn't defending enough. And, it just, she was just put out. And now, and still, women's 145 Bellator champion, it is Chris Cyborg. Congratulations to Cyborg. Shout outs to her. Chris is a great person. She deserves this. And she's even a good winner when she goes and check on Cat. And that's a good sign for me. I wouldn't care. just me. I live for the grudge. I know you talking shit about me and this and that. And, hey, I ain't gonna go here and hug you. Say, hug you? Hug me? Hell no. Nah, forget that. But like I said, she deserved it. She really put in the work and the time, and she's determined that she's going to prove herself. I think she has maybe, this was supposed to have been the last fight on contract, or I think she has one more contract. As you know, they brought in the person, probably the next contender, or the next person going to be on the wall of destruction. That is Leah McCourt. Now, Leah she's a little bit younger than Cyborg, not too much younger. And I think even with that, I think Cyborg still is going to beat this girl. She has some holes in her fighting style. And Cyborg is just about the complete fighter. I mean, everybody's going to talk about the Nunes fight, but I think with Cyborg, she got into emotion for that fight. She probably would have beat the, man, if it was like one thing about Cyborg about that fight because how they moved around. It was supposed to be in Vegas, but they moved all the way to Anaheim. I mean, it was a mess with that thing, especially the whole thing with John Jones. But like I said, what's planned for Cyborg? Well, as you know, there's talk about Bellator getting bought out by the PFL. There's also possibly a future fight with the current 145 champion over there, that is Alicia Pacheco, who's 445 and lightweight champion. And it's all been typed by her and God, I forgot her name. She you know who I'm talking about, Coach and the other guys. You know what I'm talking about. She's been talking to a lot of young. There was one point she was supposed to have been, maybe coming over because her contract PFL was up. But it's just Cyborg's just dominant. I think she might push one more year in Bellator, or PFL. And then also she's doing boxing now. I think boxing is not as rough on her as compared to MMA. But she's been fighting for a long time. She's done pretty good too. She's 2-0 as a boxer. But whatever Cyborg do, it's, I support her. Because like I said, I'm a fan of this lady. She's generally a great lady. She's a great person. She's a great mother. She's a great friend. Like I said, again, some things she doesn't, stand up on much, especially, particularly, black people and such. But that's just another thing that I'm not going to get too much into. But I'm a fan of Chris Cyborg. I think she's going to do well in the future, whatever she's going to do. If it would Bellator or PFL, like I said, not the main organizations. UFC don't want her back because, they messed up, because their 145 division is dead. They could have grown it, but they didn't want to because they didn't like the push they had. They still got someone like Holly Holmes, they want to go 145 around her, but they're not going to do that. They don't want no girls any bigger than 135. But anyway, shout out to Cyborg, shout out to Liz Carmouche, shout out to Leah McCourt putting on a good fight, and shout out to all the other competitors that fight last night. Wish you best of luck and more to the future and whatever is going to be Bellator or PFL. Just good luck to you, all right? You should be on the way to your page, a.k.a. the Emperor of Female Combat Sports Talk. Don't like, subscribe. I'm out.